What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of 30 and 30, and today we're talking about building your metabolic intake. So you might be wondering what I'm doing sitting in front of a bunch of cookies. Well, today I'm going to talk about how to help you build your intake over time. And no, I'm not about to eat these cookies as a demonstration. These are a visual aid to help me prove my point. So let's get into it. Many people make the mistake of just eating a certain amount of calories in their off season. That is going to be denoted by this column right here of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cookies. And this is going to remain sedentary throughout their entire off season. And while that may be okay, it's a decent amount of cookies. I mean, 6 cookies after all is about 2 servings. I, on the other hand, would like to see people slowly build their intake over time. So let's say, we get down to 2 cookies, and that is what you stop at the end of a contest prep. So instead of just jumping right back to 5 or like 6 like these people do in their off season, I would slowly add 1 cookie at a time. And by cookie, obviously I'm referring to more or less calories. Obviously cookies carry calories, so it's kind of easy to do. Over time, you'd see what your weight does, and then you would slowly add in a couple more cookies. And you might wait some time. It may be a week, it may be a month, it may be a couple months, but then you might add in more cookies over time. And slowly but surely, the 2 columns are going to start to be a little bit mismatched. Now, I'm not saying that you're not going to gain some more body fat in this level. You might, but if done properly, and if done over the course of an extended period of time, your intake will be significantly higher. And yes, your body fat percentage may be just a little bit higher than if you were just to leave your calories the same over time, but I'm all for trying to optimize your intake. So if you slowly build your intake over time, and I'm talking about adding in, sometimes 10 to 20 grams of carbohydrates a week, anywhere from 2 to 5 grams of fat per week, and anywhere from 5 to 10 grams of protein per week, and that's on the high end. Some weeks you might just leave it go, and just hold things steady, but over time you should slowly build your intake. So I do want to make another analogy here, and I think that'll help a lot of people. So we're all for building up our muscles, right? We try to go into the gym, we try to lift more weight, we try to do more reps, and everyone's so focused on that. But we fail to work on building our intake, especially in the off season, which could help set us up for a successful contest prep. So look at building your intake this way. As we try to hit a new PR in the gym, everyone likes to do a bench or squat or deadlift PR. You're trying to add 5 or 10 pounds to it, when you do it. So instead of looking at your weights as your personal records, why not try to pursue an intake record? And I'm not saying just up your intake for the sake of upping your intake, but if you could slowly work it up, just like progressive overload in the gym. Essentially what I'm getting at is dieting is progressive overload just with calories. So if you slowly add in calories over time, your body's going to adapt. It would be silly for us to go into the gym and put 500 pounds on the bar and try to squat it for the first time. That's just like someone coming into their daily intake and them eating 5,000 calories for the first time and saying, ooh, I wonder what's gonna happen. Well, you're probably gonna gain weight more often than not, and that 500-pound deadlift, you're probably gonna get stapled more often than not, unless you're super strong. So you go into the gym and you start off with 225, and then you start adding in a few pounds at a time. You know, maybe it's a little bit less than some people, but then over time, you add a little bit more weight. Now you can squat 315, then you could do 405, you know, then you could do 455, and then, you know, the 500-pound squat comes along. Just like you building your intake. So it's gonna take some time, it's gonna take some diligence. And I think that's where a lot of people fail. They're comfortable with eating a set amount of calories every single day and not worrying about it. They're like, oh, I know what my body needs. I don't need to increase my calories anymore because I perform fine in it. Well, although this may be fine, I would say this is much more optimal, because look at it this way. When you go to start your next contest prep, would you rather be eating this many calories or this many? You know, I'm not saying that this is double, but you know, if we start to take away calories from this pile quickly, and we take away the same amount, you know, you can see that we're still eating way more. And then as prep continues, you know, you take away one more from each column, and then we're gonna take away two, and then you're gonna run out pretty soon. If I keep taking away the wrong cookies, I don't know what I'm gonna do with myself. But so you can see, if you work on building your intake over time, that especially when we go to prep, you're gonna be set up for a lot more success. So what is this gonna involve? Well, this is gonna involve tracking your intake year round. Now, some people may think that that's a little bit crazy, and I'm not saying I do it to the T. Obviously, with the holidays that just came up, my tracking was a little bit looser. Now that the new year's here, the holidays are kind of over with, my tracking is going to be a lot more precise. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be as precise as it is in contest prep, because that's no way to live. I'm not necessarily tracking to the precise gram every single day, but I'm very, very, very close to my macros every single day, and that's how I've been doing it for years. I, in my opinion, have one of the better intake levels of most people who compete in their off season and while in contest prep, and I feel like that's because I actually do my due diligence and I track, of course, during contest prep, but especially during the off season. I'm not having these elaborate cheat meals. I'm just hitting my macros every single day, and over time, I keep slowly adding in more food. So now that the new year is here, I've been guilty of being in this column. I've been holding my calories steady for a while now, because I knew that the holidays were going to be a time where I'd overeat a little bit. Now that the new year's here, I'm back to a little bit more rigorous training. I will continue to slowly add in calories over the next so many months and years, you know, depending on if I want a mini cut. But guys, think about building your intake this way, as progressive overload for your food. Just like we are in the gym, you should use that same concept for building your intake. As always, guys, thanks for tuning in. Tune in tomorrow for another video. See you then.